Next up on the Ron Johnson Show, and of course, I want to thank all the viewers on YouTube. I want to thank all those who have podcasted and subscribed. Please continue to do so. But as I tease, we're going to bring in Chris Harris. No, not Chris Harris Jr. From the Broncos. This is Chris Harris, safety for the Chicago Bears. Chris and I was only there for like 6 months. But Chris was a rookie we drafted when I came in. I was a tight end, so I had to deal with Chris every once in a while as safety. But Chris and I kind of got cool because we both like to hang out. We both like to gamble a little bit. And we like to hang out at Brian Urlacher's house. And so that's kind of how I met Chris. Chris, and I think it was like Kyle Orton, at Urlacher's house, late night gambling. And then after that, we were cool, went to training camp, blah, blah, all the stuff. I ended up getting hurt. So I had to go after that. You can't make the club in the tub. But I want to bring Chris Harris in. And Chris, jumping into this, man, you were a player. You played all over. Spice Adams loves making jokes about you too. But you've played and then you transitioned into coaching. I had a lot of guys when I coached for 2 years with the coach talk about that. And then Reggie Wayne now is doing it and you're doing it. So what did that transition look like going from playing to coaching?
Man, it was pretty easy for me because I knew as a player, I knew early in my career, I think I knew my second year that coaching was the avenue that I wanted to take whenever my football career was over with. So I would always pay attention to what coaches were doing. Like I would go upstairs just like, all right, what does game planning look like for you guys? Like, because I was always intrigued with more of the X's and O's of football than the physicality of it. I mean, I love the physical part of it, but the X's and O's really intrigue me because to me, it's like math. I like math. And so, it's like, all right, how does this puzzle fit? An 8-man front. How does everything go together? And that, the intellectual part of the game really intrigued me. And so it was just one thing. And both of my parents are retired teachers. And to me, football coaching is you're just teaching. It's football education. At the end of the day, it's being able to communicate effectively and being able to teach and put those two things together. It was for me.
Yeah, man. And so, looking at that, as a coach now, you get to mentor players as well, and you get to give these guys advice. And I've seen a lot of guys give a lot of advice recently. But you look at a guy like Marion Barber, you played with him, played against him, recently passed away. And the tough thing about the NFL, I mean, you look at so many other players that this has happened to, whether it's Vincent Jackson or whoever, guys, it's just one of those things where you look back, you're like, man, I wish I could have changed this, or I wish I could have done this. What do you remember most about Marion Barber?
Man, he was an excellent teammate. I mean, we were only teammates for 1 year. His last year in the league was 2011, and he came to Chicago. And I just remember he was just a down-to-earth guy. Like I had played him multiple times throughout my career, and I would he probably goes up there in my top 3 hardest running backs to tackle. He was Marshawn Lynch before Marshawn Lynch, in my opinion. But
I said that.
I just remember he was a genuine guy, man. Like he really was a genuine dude, and it's unfortunate, man. He was only 38, so young. I mean that's extremely young to pass away, and it crushed me when I saw it. I mean it really did.
Yeah, man. And just looking at that, the age of 38, 2005 draft, same as you, he was my teammate in college. So, we're a bunch of guys, former players are in town this week. And so we're going to go out and just kind of, just be around each other, man. Cause I think so many players, as you get away from the game, you forget to connect. And so that's one thing I always appreciate about you, working for the Vikings. I got to see you coach with the Chargers. I know Antonio Gates was there. And so it's been cool to watch you grow, from step to step to step. And I'm guessing, D coordinator and head coach are coming soon. But as you look at this, NFL and all the things that come with it, and of course, quarterbacks right now are a big talker. And you're with the Washington Commanders, so you guys had Kirk Cousins at one point, so you've heard about him around the building, but you've also faced him as well. When you look at Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, some of these fringe now, because you only have so many elite, and then you look at, even Russell Wilson now being pushed down. What is it about these quarterbacks, so specifically Kirk Cousins and your quarterback and Carson Wentz, what is it about the stigma that kind of surrounds them sometimes, and how do they get out of that?
I think they've got some negative press. Both of those quarterbacks, even Matt Ryan, you know, court the elite core. They don't they're not they don't yeah they don't have a tree full of them. You just don't grow them like that.
Right.
It comes with developing. And I think all of those quarterbacks we just named are all solid quarterbacks. I think those are all quarterbacks that you can win with.
Yeah.
And as we see in the National Football League, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance at winning. I mean, you really don't.
Right.
I mean, you can go into it like rah, 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 but I mean, realistically, this is a quarterback-driven league. And the teams that have a capable signal caller, doesn't have to be elite, does not have to be elite, but has a capable signal caller that can go out there, manage a game, take care of the football, not turn it over, and make a couple throws when needed. I mean, you got a chance. I mean, because it takes offense, it takes defense, it takes special teams. But at the end of the day, I think the buck stops with the quarterback.
Yeah, and looking at the Vikings secondary, because I know you played safety, so I know you've seen Harrison Smith, Lewis Cine, kid out of Georgia, free safety, the Vikings drafted in the first round. When you see Lewis Cine and Harrison Smith, what jumps out about those two guys to you?
Intelligent. That would be the first thing I would say. I had a chance to visit with Lewis Cine. He came in on a 30 visit with the Commanders, and I had him for a day, and he is a very sharp, intellectual man. And Harrison is the same way. I mean, he's one of the smartest safeties in the league, and you can just tell by the way he plays. He knows how to disguise. He knows what the quarterback's looking, so what he's looking at. So he's trying to give him something else, and he's a guy that gets himself in the right position because of his wits and because of his smarts.
And looking at this season, there's going to be Justin Jefferson. There's going to be Cooper Kupp. There's going to be a lot of top receivers. Again, being a DB coach, you got to watch them. How do you stop a guy like Justin Jefferson or even Cooper Kupp? Like what is your thought process when you see that come up on film?
Man, you got to try to do some doubling. Maybe cut one way if we're robbing, maybe rob towards him, lurk towards that player. Because I mean that they're special players that command double teams. Now you can't double team a player every single down. You're gonna get gashed in the running game. But you have to make sure where he is. The safety needs to know where he is, so he may need a cheat over the top if you're in single high coverage. If you're in man-to-man coverage and you got a Cooper Kupp, a guy like that that's real shifty in the slot, okay, you might have the linebacker. If you got a hole player, he's looking strictly at him so he can help that nickel. With his leverage, so the nickel can stay outside and he can be there to help him if he cuts inside. So little things like that, little nuances like that. But I mean, guys like that, they're dynamic, and they're great players. So it's hard to say you're gonna just take them out of the game and stop them, and you can try to slow them down.
Yeah, and so last one, man, fun one, of course. You play for the Bears, but you've been in the league for, you played a couple different spots, and you faced Randy Moss. What was that like? I mean, even going into the week, knowing you had to deal with Randy Moss, what was that like?
Randy was a freak. I was with him with that record-breaking year in New England. I played against him then. I was in Carolina. I think that was 09, maybe. Yeah, I feel like it was 09. Man, he's. If you see that hand go up like this, you're in trouble. and he could be 5 yards in front of you. If that hand go up like that, you were in trouble. I mean, he was a special guy. He had a rare speed. I mean, I don't think people understand how fast Randy Moss really was. Like he can go, he's a tall, lanky guy. So, I mean, he covers a lot of ground when he runs and you're not catching him. And he had phenomenal hands. And so his speed was one thing, Tyreek Hill is fast. He's really fast, but Randy Moss could pick him up and put him down.
And of course, like any coach, I lie. There's always, you say you got 16 110s, you got two more. One more question. if you had to give advice to all these young, not just the safeties, but these young DBs, young defensive guys and offensive guys, but young players coming into today's NFL, you're a coach and you have to do it. What do you tell your young rookies when they enter the building?
Well, I tell them we have to learn how to be pros. It's a difference between being an NFL player and being a professional, being a pro. And so the biggest thing when I get rookies is I try to help them become what I call a pro. You know, a pro comes in. Time. I tell them time's the most valuable asset that we have.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one thing that you can't get extra of. You know, I tell them, hey, we can go down to the meal room, and you know, if I wanna extra omelet, I can get another one. If I want some more bacon, okay, I can get some more bacon. You know, if I want some more hash browns, I finished mine. I can go back up there and get some more hash browns. If I want some more money, okay, I can go get some more money. I can, you know, but time is the one thing that we don't get extra of. It's only so much in a day. And I tell them, I said, it's like if you have a bank account, like say you got a bank account, all right, you put $1,000 in it. All right, you spent $500 of that day, right? And so you put $1,000 in the next day. All right, so you got $1,500. Okay, you spent 500 down that, so you got 1,000 left. But I put 1,000 in the next day, so now I got 2,000. And I tell them time doesn't work like that. I said, guys, we got 24 hours in the day. I said, so if you waste 6 hours of that day, you're not gonna get that extra 6. So when that 24 rolls over again, you're not getting the extra 6 to go with the 24. So you don't have 30. So that's one thing that we don't ever get extra of. So making sure that they really understand how to utilize their time and be efficient with their time and understanding time management, because you have so much more free time now that you're an NFL player than when you're a college player. Like when you're a college player, you got to do this. You're getting pulled here. Okay, I got to go to study hall. Okay, we got to get up, go work out here. Then we got to go do this. Okay, now I got to go to class. All right, now I'm going to go to practice. All right, now I got to go to study hall. And so nah, you don't. It's not that much. You have all day basically.
Right.
When the day's over with at 4:30, 5 o'clock, you got the rest of the day, and you got to figure out how to manage your time and use it effectively.